we're like, oh yeah, we're live. All right.
So
I'm
hey,
excited. Hey
me too, me
everybody,
too.
I'm Patricia Ann Young with Follow My Heels Home, broker by Real Brokerage, and welcome to my third show, Let's Get Real, where
Ooh,
we
lucky
talk
number
to
three.
people I know across the country to find out what makes them successful and stay on top of their game. And I am so super excited. I want y'all to know Rebecca Hamilton is joining me today, but this isn't our first show. We tried to do this a week and a half ago. We
We
went
did.
through the entire show,
And it was a good one.
and it was a good show. And it didn't record, nor did it go live.
Oh well, we had a good combo,
See, Rebecca and I have known each other a while. We can just entertain ourselves.
right? Like we like each other. It's all good.
So I'm super excited that Rebecca can join me today. I've known Rebecca now for a while, and one of the things I am completely impressed with, and always like talking to Rebecca, is like a breath of fresh air. Because number one, she tells it like it is, which in this day and age is something that sometimes is hard to come by.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm from New York, originally was born. I know I grew up, my husband like, you grew up in Miami. I said, it doesn't matter. So my whole family was like that. So I can
Right.
relate to people who are straightforward. It's like, give it to me, be truthful. And her whole outlook with like law of attraction and just her outlook on life and just situations, I think is so phenomenal, especially now in this, age of COVID that we're
Mhm.
still in. And I think people are having a hard time, and we're still there. I think some people think we're out of it, but that's, you can
No.
tell we're not.
Yeah.
We're learning how to live a new normal, and
Mhm.
that's okay. So what a great time to bring Rebecca on. So Rebecca Hamilton, thank you. Tell us all about you.
Oh my gosh, how long do you have? Okay, so
Yeah.
well, I guess anybody who knows me, and I know there's probably people in here who don't know me, but when my son, well, actually, when I was 19, I got a set of cassette tapes that were like the first Law of Attraction cassette tapes that were out. And it was mind blowing for me. Like at that time, I really felt like life had been living me. I was dealing with, just pain. My biggest thing was I wanted to feel good. And I mean, hearing about like money and you could create this and you could create all of that sounded good. But honestly, I just didn't want to feel um, fearful and regret and shame and all of the things that we don't want to feel. And I was feeling it on like overdrive. So when I heard that, it was really, I remember crying in that parking lot and thinking like, if this can work, it has to work. But like most things, you get it, it plants a seed and then
Right.
you've got to come back to it, right?
Yep.
So it wasn't until about 6 years later when my husband got arrested for a crime he didn't commit. Our son was one, and it was earth shattering. And it was also like this wake up call of like, okay, it is not just about saying I feel good or talking about positive things. Like there's more going on to this than just that. And that was a big wake up call. So a year later, he was actually convicted of those crimes, and we decided to stay together. It's been a very rocky road. Well, not always. I mean, it was at first, though. I mean, because we were both young. Imagine when he got arrested, the attorney, that I wanted to hire, that I called around for, wanted 1,000. Like he wanted 25,000, which was exactly $1,000 more than I made in an entire year. So I was like, there's nothing that I can do to help him. Like all I can do is do things like, stand at the copier and send him books, give him knowledge. That's all I
Mhm.
could share with him was knowledge and love. Um, and so anyway, so once he got convicted, a few years after that, I decided to jump into real estate. It was just kind of happened. I was able to get a voluntary severance package from a Fortune 500 company. I had a really good job. It had really great benefits. It was a Johnson and Johnson subsidiary, so you can imagine like I was paying nothing for insurance. I was
Mhm.
making a good amount of money, and I always wanted to homeschool our son. Like that was my number one. Is that I
Mhm.
always wanted to homeschool him. I always wanted to just give him something different. So when the severance came around, I was like, all right, I'm going to take it. And we just decided to get in real estate. Actually, my mom and I got in it together. And everybody was like, "You're crazy. How are you going to support your household? It's a commission only job. Like, what are you thinking?" And I was like, "I know I can do it." Because by then I had created the opportunity for a better job. I had
Right.
created a few things. I had like kind of gotten my flow and knew I was kind of powerful, but I wasn't, quite sure exactly how it worked. But
Right.
I was
Right.
getting things going. And then 6 months after that, I had written my first million, and I was like, you know what? That was my goal: write a million,
Mhm.
take him out. And I went and took him out of school and started homeschooling him when it definitely was not cool or mandated. Let's be
Yeah, exactly.
but I mean, we were living the life. I always say, like, those were my 6 figure soul years because
Mhm.
that was the time where I was super clear on what I wanted. And I really realized how important that was. And so from like, the beginning until 11th grade, I homeschooled him. Little known fact, when he was young, he was doing commercials and dance competitions. We were traveling everywhere. We were having a blast. And I was still the only income. So, all that kind of stuff is like that. And then fast forward, I send him off. He decides to pick up a football and in ninth grade and wants to go play D1, and he does. I'm like, okay, well then do you. So then I decided to kick up my real estate business, and he went off to college. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're going to be so sad. You guys are so close. I'm like, girl, I'm going to be fine. And I was, because I started doing my business, and I took my business to a 6 figure business within a matter of months, and using the stuff that I teach and talk about. And launched my coaching, launched She's Unoffendable. I mean, it's just been like a
One thing
snowball.
after the other.
Yeah, it's been super fun stuff.
When people come to you, like, people were saying you were crazy
Yeah.
and, for doing, and, that happens all the time. We go through that
Yeah.
every day. It's like
Hmm.
when I started North Carolina, which I'm working on now, people are like, are you nuts? How are you going to run a business that you don't live in a city?
Right.
Wow, isn't that risky? Wow, is it? And what's bad about that is that sometimes when you hear that, it gets in your brain. And then you start sitting there going, okay, am I crazy? Am I, I mean, is it really? So it's really, so when people started doing that to you, like what was, I mean, how do you get out? Because it does get into your head, because my husband kind of had to yank me out of that. And I'm not like that, but I think it's people's fear, or they can't, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's not their belief system, it's ours, but we let it creep in.
You let it creep in, right? Because you let the
Yeah.
momentum kind of
Yeah.
spin with it. So what happens is, like for me, what I've found, and I have a lot of people who come to me and they're upset because they want validation, or they want somebody to say,
Mhm.
yeah, this is a good idea. And my whole thing is like, you're attracting what your energy is what's going on right now energetically. So if you get close enough to fear, see, a lot of us don't even know when we're working out of fear. We don't even know when we're
Right.
working out of something that doesn't benefit us. So for me, again, I go back to that clarity, that vision, that
Mhm.
clarity that comes with the vision, because that literally is enough. If you get strong enough in that, those people won't even they won't even be able to bring that to you anymore. And I really think that when I heard the word projection, it was life changing for me.
Mhm.
I went to a therapist when I was maybe in my 20s, no, maybe early 30s. And I was just, there was things going on and whatever. And I was thinking I was crazy and I was taking on other people's stuff. And she was like, that's called projection. And I was like, oh, it's a thing? Like, it's a thing? Hold on a second. Yeah, and it was amazing what that does to realize that people are projecting their shit on you. They're
Yes.
projecting their fear, their limitations. And so, one of the best things that I've ever found, and it's really rudimentary, it's not even like this is a really big, I just stop it as soon as I hear it. I just go, oh, that's them. I don't, and sometimes I'll
Right.
say it to them, like,
Right.
that's your limiting belief. I get it. You wouldn't do it. But for me, I see something different. And stopping people right there can sometimes really be, it seems like a very easy thing, but most people don't do it because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, or
Right.
we're more worried about other people than we are about ourselves. And we have to get more worried about ourselves You can still be kind and you should, but we have to start thinking about ourselves because, I mean, that's the ultimate is figuring out how to feel good so that you can be that sort of beacon for other people.
That's true. And I think that's like you had said, I think we have to take our belief system because only we know where we
Mhm.
need to be. And I think that that was one of the things when COVID started. For me, COVID was actually a good thing because it
Mhm.
helped me really get myself to slow down, really
Mhm.
think stuff out, write stuff down. I'm pretty good about that. Like reach out to people, but really get my systems and get myself in order. Because
Yeah.
we're usually the last ones we take care of, but we're really the first ones that we should take care of. And I think
Mhm.
sometimes people think that that's selfish. You know, I mean, I come from a background, I don't have children, so it's a little bit easier for me to say that. But even me, I've got to feel right and be okay in order to take care of my husband, help with my in laws, make sure my mom's okay. But
Mhm.
we have to be okay. Because I know
Yep.
we've talked about that before is that know what to, how to handle that and come across where you're doing the right thing and not being selfish.
Right, but I mean, other people are gonna feel how they're gonna feel, and, like, the sooner we get okay with that, the better off we are. Like, for me, COVID was great. I mean, because it was like, I'm already, like, an introverted type you know me, girl. I'm like, "Can I talk to you on the phone? Can I text? And can I
Yes,
be
I
on
text you.
Zoom?" Those are my 2 things, like, I'm not this person, and I'm not in person, like, I will, but I'm saying, like, for me, COVID was like, I discovered Instacart, so I was cool with it because I had never discovered Instacart, and I have truly do not like to grocery shop,
Yeah.
and so that was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." But yeah, I think taking care of ourselves and self-care is something that we get twisted a lot. We think it is buying the things, getting the pedicure, getting the manicure. And yeah, it is those things, but that's like just the very surface things. There's so much
Right.
else to take care of. And that's really what we're talking about. It's about saying no when you need to say no and slowing down when you need to slow down and being okay with not, like as a real estate agent. I had my broker come in to me when Zay was little and say, "Hey, you need to make more money. Like you have so much potential. You're wasting your potential." And I was like, "I'm living exactly what I want right now. Like how do you get to tell me? Who are
Right.
you to tell me what my dream is?" And
Right.
I think as real estate agents for sure, we get caught up on what are they doing? What are they doing? But in reality, that's why again, like I go back to the vision because it is super important. And it is amazing how many people they think they know their vision, they think they know what they want it to look like, but what they have not probably, and I'm telling you, probably about 98% of the people I work with, this is true, they have not fully gotten a vision because they are taking other people into consideration and they can't get
Mhm.
past that. So they can't get the vision because it's like, but my husband wants this, and but my kids are this, and it's like that doesn't matter. Like the vision is so important.
How do you get past that though? How do they get over that to get to.
Well, yeah, well, realize that, God, the universe, source energy, if you think that that energy, that beautiful, perfect energy was able to create all of this, don't you think it can work out what you want?
Mhm.
It to make it work with what your husband wants or what your kids want? Like, we get, and like, I went through that when Zay was going through football because he didn't want there was kids on the team who their parents paid for their spots. It happens in
Mhm.
middle school, it happens in
Yep, it happens. Yep.
pay for their spots. And so I was like on a roll and then he didn't want that anymore. He didn't want, that. And so I lost my vision for a little while. And we got a little bit broke for a minute. Like it got really tight because I was more worried about what he wanted than what I wanted.
Right.
And the thing is like when you're in your flow, you're never going to hurt somebody else. You're never going to, take away from somebody else. The universe could create the perfect
Mhm.
how to get you exactly where you want to be. And your husband, sister, brother, loved one, kids can also get what they want. That's like the beauty of it.
I think that's it too, because when you come across as happier, because after when all this stuff is going on right now, even Tim saying to me, at night with real estate, like I would watch webinars, I'd be on watching, I discovered some really cool podcasts. I read a couple books. I mean, but I was learning as I went along. And it's really because when they say knowledge is power, I mean,
Mhm.
really, because you feel like you're like, wow, I feel empowered. I learned
Powdered.
something
I like
empowered.
it.
Yeah, I feel
You need to
empowered.
be powdered, girl. I like
Yeah,
it.
I need my powder.
All
So,
right.
but I mean, you feel stronger. And it's amazing because he's like, you really seem like, even after everything that's been going on right now, like in a good place. Listen, I'm not going to say that I'm not scared. And I'm not going to say that, like, even with now, with all this, like with the election coming up and seeing all the hate there is. And I mean, I mean, people are volatile. And, I had this conversation with Sandra, I think last night or the night before, and I'm like, you don't want to get caught up in that fear, but it scares you because then you start thinking, oh my God, what if? What if this happens? So you got to like check yourself, but that's hard to stay out when you see everything around you going crazy.
That's why it matters what you're focusing on. Like it matters so
Yeah.
much what you're giving your attention to because there is like tons of fear out there right now. And realizing that what we're seeing, even on the internet, even on TV, all that stuff, that's like the least of it. There's this saying that's like, oh, the hate is so the hate is loud or whatever because but you don't hear the love. It's just quieter. It's just because
Right.
people don't have to be loud about that. And I think there is a lot of that going on. So, I mean, I know what you're saying. And for me, when it comes to like fear and things like that, that kind of start to creep in, it's, I mean, yeah, what I pay attention to, because I started to kind of have that at the beginning of COVID. I was like getting scared. I was like legit scared, like, well, what if I got sick? Or what if
Yeah.
this? Or what if that? You know what I'm saying? And you're like, what if I'm going to be in a hospital room by myself dying and crying for my mom or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like weird stuff. Or like legitimately for me, what if I don't see my husband like again
Right.
because I haven't been able to see him in almost a year now? So it's like, what if I don't get to see him again and something happens to him and it gets in there and it's like
Yeah.
we just have to bring ourselves back down to reality because the truth is like one of the most like a powerful pivoting question or way to change the way you're looking at it is not as what if it doesn't work out. It's like what if it does? Like
Does.
what if exactly what I want happens? And you will feel a literal change in your energy just doing that. Like right now, if I say, well, what if, the we have a civil war and everybody starts fighting and you could really go down a rabbit hole.
You can.
What if everything works out and the market
Yeah.
stays good and we continue to appreciate and you know what I'm saying? Like it's just deciding where do you want to tune your dial?
Right.
Because if you're going to tune your radio dial over to the negative side of it, which is what if it doesn't work out, then you are working and living in lack. And if
Right.
you're going to tune it to the what if it does work out, you're working and living in abundance. It's just a decision you got to make.
That's true. And if you just tuned in, I'm talking to Rebecca Hamilton, and we are talking law of attraction. We're talking mindset because right now, I think with everything going on, people need to like check their mindset. Every morning for a long time, I've been posting like inspirational stuff, and I'll get messages. Thank you so much. You don't know how much you help me. I mean, I'll have people reach out to me that I don't even know who they are. Like they're friends of friends. I'm not even friends with them, but my
Oh,
page is, open, so I'll get remarks like that. And to me, that's my little contribution. But
yeah.
even then, some stuff that I post, I need it just as much as anybody else will need it. Because you do have those days where you're like, oh my God, really? It's
Yeah.
like, why do I feel it's a fearful, or it's just like an overwhelming, like something's weighing on you. And
Hmm.
I think too, you get caught up in that minutia, you get caught up in the news, you get caught up in the especially social media. Social media
Turn
has
it
probably been the
off.
hardest
Turn
right
it
now.
off, girl. Turn it off. And
Yeah.
I completely understand what you're saying. And I think that it's just, we really need to be on a better energetic diet. Like,
Yeah.
we need to level up our energetic bar. And that has been needing to be the case because it's not just the political stuff and the hate and stuff. Think about the amount of violence that we watch. Think about the amount of, what it's like, all the negative things that we listen to, that we watch, that we do it out of being interested. But really, the things that you're taking in are becoming more possible for you. So
Right.
that's what I think of when I'm watching something or I'm participating or listening to something. It's like, if this is becoming more, is this something that, the key question, do I want more of this? If I don't, then I don't have any business thinking about it. Because
Right.
if I'm thinking about it, I'm inviting it over. So, I mean, obviously it's not that simple, because if it was, I'd just be thinking about $1 million. But, it's like
Can we just manifest that right now?
I know, right? Let's just manifest.
Maybe Fern will bring it to me. I don't know. She's around here somewhere.
Well, Ziggy's not going to, because he's not really up for business right now. He's still sleeping.
Yeah, well, Fern's running around playing with her spring, but yeah, I think that that's the whole thing. And I know you've talked about like that energy, the energy hustle, like that, and how to get it together. So how does somebody clear out? Because it's not easy, and it's there are people that suffer that have like depression. There's people that suffer, and that is a real thing. And I think there are people that want to that want to help themselves, but like how does somebody reset their mindset to get out of that negative?
Well, I think, first of all, you have to really want to, because just like going to the gym, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that it takes time, because if you think about like a train, and as a train starts going, that momentum is going to make it harder for it to stop, right? So your brain is literally asking for what you gave it yesterday and the day before and the day before. Your neurons are asking to fire the same way. So you have to like literally fight yourself and go, you know what? I am dedicated to having a better life. And better life isn't equated to money. It's equated to like what I posted today. It's about inner peace. It's about having a better grasp on who you are and feeling good no matter what. So for me, I can tell you what I did. When they convicted him, I fell into a black hole. I was devastated, is not even a good enough word. I was devastated, and it took me a while of grieving. And then I started to do exactly what I give out, is that energetic hustle. I started to do it every single day. People go, well, I have kids, so I can't do it first thing in the morning. And so they just don't do it. Well, I had a kid too, and I was working full time, and I was going to school full time at one point, like doing all of it. And I still was doing it. So what I know is, if you want to feel better, you will find a time to do it. But I also know that you have to make yourself, like, you're going to have to, because it's going to be easier. You're going to sit down to start writing. You're going to be like, but I need to change the laundry. Or, but what did I take out for dinner?
Damn laundry.
It's so much easier to do that than it is to do the work, but you have to do that work. And that's where it starts. And kind of what I've found, especially probably the last 10 years, is that that's the beginning piece, is like you do this energetic hustle, meaning you kind of bring up the feeling that you want to feel. You're tuning it sort of like a guitar, right? Like you strum the note of love or of safety or of happiness or joy or whatever. And so that's the first piece. Then you set your intentions, and then you start coming up with these scenarios, and we're really taught to work with reality. It's like, if it's not reality, don't talk about it. But the way that you create these opportunities is by sort of, because the universe doesn't know, God doesn't know if what you want is in front of you or if you're just thinking of it, right? So as you start to create these stories, and that really is such a powerful process, because you focus, as you start to create these stories, you start to find a new energetic footing. So that's why I think those pieces are really important. And then after that, obviously, you have to look at your limiting beliefs. You have to look at those deep fears. That's more of the shadow side of law of attraction. So I know a lot of people think it's just all, think the Lambo, get the Lambo. It's just, that's not what it is. Unfortunately, it's taught that way. But it really is a full circle amount of work that you have to do to really come out on the other side of it and start creating, what you want.
It's almost like forming a habit. It's almost like it creates, what is it, 66 days to create a habit, like you said, going to the gym. But then once you get there, you realize how much better
you feel.
Feeling
Yes.
overall. It is like, we do so many things, people buy clothes, and they, go to the gym, and they buy certain foods, and they change diets, and I see people always look and always try to change things.
Yep.
Like, this is not working. Let me jump here. Let me jump here. Let me jump here. That's, because I mean, I went through a stage like that. I'm almost 50, and it took me a long time to get like comfortable in my own skin where I am now, but it takes
Mhm.
time. But of course, and like you said, anybody can fall back into a pattern, but it's knowing what I think when I started listening to you and being in your membership group, it's like you become aware of when you're sliding back. Like you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
right. You start to get real fussy really quick
yeah,
because the
yeah,
whole idea is so, the concept is that it takes 17 seconds of you holding a thought before the universe starts to help you, meaning the law of attraction starts to kick in, right? So I've actually timed myself, like to make sure I can make it. 17 seconds doesn't seem like a long time, but girl, it is forever when you are trying to change these thoughts around. So the first 17 seconds, you're having to do all the work on yourself. And if you can make it through that, then the other thoughts that are, and if you think of it sort of like a radio dial, right? It's radio waves, more thoughts will start kind of coming around that you can grab onto. But
right.
you can't go from despair to joy in two
No,
seconds. That's why I always talk about like being real about how you feel, because you have to give yourself that moment. Because if you just put a happy face sticker over a negative experience, you're not moving it, and you're going to continue to create different faces, different places type stuff.
that's true. And I think that that's when you realize, and it's like anything else. You have to take. It's like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? You've got to do.
Don't eat an elephant because that just sounds gross too.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you? I mean, do you ever think of
Cotton
the different
candy.
sayings like, right? But do you ever think of like kill two birds with one stone? I'm like, whoever
Oh, I
came up
would not
with
kill a bird.
I'm like, whoever came up with these sayings was like really on
I
some.
know who came up with that. It's like certain words. It's like I don't like those words or those
I
phrases, but
know.
I don't know. But so what do you? Okay, so today, okay,
Yeah.
so obviously I'm on social media a lot. Get a lot of I put past clients, put everybody on there. I like to keep in contact with everybody. That's my thing.
Mhm.
Rebecca posted this post this morning, and I told her just before we started the show. I'm like, Rebecca. And she goes, "What did I post?" I was like,
Well, no, because I post on a lot of different
"We
stuff.
post a
I'm like,
lot."
what are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. But I don't know if you want to repeat it, but it's just, it's the whole thing. I mean, it's really like being happy, like really being joyful, not just like that shadowed, I call it, where you think you're happy, but you still got that black shadow behind you. I mean,
Yeah.
that just resonated with me. I mean, it really did. I was like, wow, this is good. I like this. It's so true.
Well, yeah, because it's that, I always think like happy is like an external thing, right? I'm
Right.
happy to see you. I'm happy to get these shoes because I know you're happy to get your shoes.
Oh my God.
I'm
I know
happy to get,
use.
right? I'm happy to get these things. But then, like, that real happiness is
Yeah.
joy. Like, joy is like that unequivocal, nothing has to change. And I'm like, that's where I feel like source or God is just flowing through you at like big levels. That's
Mhm.
joy. And that to me is goals, girl. That's
Yes.
all the time. That's goals.
And when
So,
you can feel like that, I mean, and I think that's it. Listen, we all have stuff. When you think about it, you got kids, you got family, you got in-laws, you got everything. You got work, you got life. I mean, oh my God.
yeah.
But I mean, I think that everybody deserves to be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, and I mean, like you said, like your joy, when you wake up in the morning and you don't have that dread over you. And I think that's why sometimes with going on and watching like social media after COVID hit, it's like, it makes you worry about some people because you can almost see, like, if you watch people a lot, and like some weird post goes up, and I'm like the first I'll reach out. Are you okay?
Oh,
I
me
saw you
too.
posted something today, and it just didn't seem like you.
Yeah.
But everybody deserves to have that happiness. But I think that we need to get out of our own way and
Yeah.
not worry, especially now. If anything, I just feel like I said, it's everybody's journey. But I feel like after COVID, everybody should just want to like do your thing,
Yeah.
stay in your lane, not go
Appreciate, be thankful.
appreciate, be some grateful.
Well, and then like there's this whole piece of, I think one of the things that's tricky is that when something scares us, we want to turn away from it because we're like,
Right,
don't, no,
right,
but you stay afraid. But then if you just walk head into that and go, and I learned this, one of my friends who's amazing, she does all sorts of things like NLP. I don't know all the different things, but anyway, we were talking about how like using the worst case scenario, that's apparently like really a cognitive behavioral
Mm-hmm.
therapy or something. I didn't know that, but that's what I do. I always go, all right, let's go down worst case scenario, because otherwise, if you can't face that, you're going to keep trying to hide from something,
Right.
and you can't hide. That's the thing.
No.
So it's like, why not just get your energy together and figure it out? And I think that's, it's the same thing that I had to do with my husband. Like, for instance, when I put that post out, when I came out to the world, I like to call it my coming out. When I posted about my husband for the first time, for the first, 17 years, I went through that alone with just my immediate family,
Mm-hmm.
and never talked about it. People like I'm sure you really get annoyed with people saying, "Do you have kids?" Well, I really get annoyed with people saying, "Where's your husband?"
Yeah.
Because it's like, he's not here and it's none of your damn business.
Business. Yeah.
Right. But when I came out and was just like, this is what it is. My husband's in prison. Look at it, judge it, do
Mhm.
what you got to do. There's freedom in facing that stuff.
Yeah.
And it can't be overstated. It's amazing.
Well, and I think the thing too, when I first heard your story, I was like, that's amazing. Not only, I mean, that's a lot to go through, like you said, and especially to have a baby when the baby was one. I mean, you're talking like a lifetime, and that is a lifetime.
It
But
was
just your whole mentality, and not to say, but like you said, people are going to have bad days. They're going to have shit weeks. They're going to have a shit year. I mean, that's life. But you're a really good example about like people pulling themselves out, because look at people who get divorced. I mean, this happens. I know a couple of people went through a divorce and they were never the same. They didn't know how to pull themselves out. And I'm thinking, my God, I think that that's why with what you talk, that's why I think when you say something, it's like not BS. I mean, what you talk is how you live, is what you say. And I'm thinking to myself, my God, look at that scenario. Look at that situation. And
Mm-hmm.
if she can pull herself out, we can get ourselves, everybody's story is different, but everybody can get to some type of mindset to help themselves. And like I said, and to help your child, not
Well,
only
you
you.
have to want that for yourself, and
Right.
I wanted it for my child, but also, like, this is just the truth. Some people are very comfortable being victims.
Yeah.
That's just what they're comfortable with. Like,
Yeah.
they're comfortable. They don't want to change. They're okay with that. So, like, if you're cool with that, fine. But for me, it was like when I got like a little dose of power, it was just like, what? I can what? Okay, well, nobody's going to have control over me and how I feel. Like, does that
Right.
mean that nothing hits me? Yeah, of course. Some things. But after a while, you really do, which is how She's Unoffendable sort of
Mm-hmm.
came to fruition. It was just this idea of not that you just don't give a shit, it's that you're able to stand tall as who you are and be okay. You have to remember, I've had a lot of practice at this. Not only, was I dating and then married a black man in the South, I had black friends and lost friends over just having black friends who wanted to ride in the car with us. I had something, there were so many things that
Mm-hmm.
homeschooling, I had to stand up to people. People thought we were weird. People thought all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff. I'm like, dude, your kid's only gonna be weird if you're homeschooling them because they're weird. But I didn't homeschool my kid because he was weird. Anyway, um,
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
I'm
that's
just
people's
saying,
mind. That's mentality. That's just
yeah, and you have
not
to fight
knowing.
against that. So it's
Right.
like, that's why, going back to the beginning of what we were talking about when you said, how do you, that's it. You get
Yeah.
so secure in yourself, and that's what She's Unoffendable is really about. It's like becoming so secure in yourself that what other people say, you can take it in, but you're not going to be drowned by that.
Yeah. You're not going to live in it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to lose a night's sleep over it.
I think that that's in, like you said, it's learned behavior. And since I've been like in your program, I mean, it took a while to get here because I'm a high I personality. I bet everything of, I would always, my feelings would be hurt all the time, and not that people meant to do it, or it's just, I mean, some personalities are different than others. But now I've learned that I know who I am. I'm
Yep.
secure when I say, and you know what? This is who I am. I mean, if you want to question, you want to judge, that's fine. I mean, I think too, as we learn, as we get older, having that quality over that quantity is
Yep.
really important. And having those people in your life that, if you were to call today and say, I need you, they'd be on a plane. You know what I mean? Or your phone call away or text away. I mean, and it's genuine, because at this point you want people to be upfront with you. Look, if I suck, I suck. Listen, I'm the first one to say, I mean, I don't have an issue with that. I don't like confrontation, but I'll be the first one to say, hey, I have to. It's my
Well,
fault.
I would rather that. I'd rather
Yeah.
be around people like that all day
Yeah.
than somebody who's just a yes person. I need no yes people in my life.
No,
Like,
God,
give
no.
it to me, give it to me straight, or don't give it to me at all. So no, I completely agree with you. Having that, um, and coming just to terms with who you are, like,
Mhm.
and also not using anything as a reason. There's so many people that I, talk to, coach, or in my program or whatever, that say things like, yeah, but this happened to me, or like, or they'll say something like you said, like, you're sensitive. I'm super sensitive too, right? And they're like, yeah, but I can't let go because I'm an empath. And it's like, that's a word that's like kind of a trendy word right now. And it's like, I take on other people's emotions. It's like, then stop,
Yeah.
bro. Like, what do you want to do? Like, you have to want to feel better more than anything else. Like, there could be
Right.
it's like that saying, years ago, driving in the car, listening to Wayne Dyer, who's another huge influence.
Hmm.
Like, no bullshit. He
Right.
was very, no excuses. And he said, do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Like, you have to figure out
Yeah. What's
what's
important?
most important to you. Yeah. And a lot of people fight for their limitations. They fight for their drama, their stress. They fight for it because they keep telling you why it's valid instead of trying to find another place. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a work in progress because it's hard when you're there. You have
Hmm.
to take the time to start to pull yourself out of it. And it's a process.
And I think, like you said, some people just like victim mentality. Some people like to have the
Yeah.
attention. And I don't think people understand that, especially if they use social media, oh, look at me, everybody's looking at me. Yeah, because everybody probably thinks you're nuts. But it's like, but I learned, I mean, for the first time I went through, there were some people I got rid of. There were some, because you know what, like you said, if it's making you feel, ugh, that's the best way to describe it, that ugh, that just feeling of, it doesn't need to be there anymore, you know?
No, I mean, like, I post and then I interact on my posts. And you
Yeah.
might even notice this. I'm a bad person because I literally don't. I always like the stuff like that you tag me in and stuff like that because it's always a good little reminder. But there's a lot of times that I'm MIA except for me posting because I cannot and I don't want to subject myself to that. And I literally have friends who are like, well, but if I don't, then they're going to think, who
Who
cares? You
cares?
have to take care of yourself. Like, no matter what, you have to take care of yourself. So I actually love Instagram, which is why I went and grew my Instagram over there because
Yeah.
it's just a different vibe over there. It's
Yes.
not the
It's
same.
nice.
And
It's
I don't feel like and I don't feel the need to scroll as much in
right.
there. I don't look for people. I don't do any of that. So my Facebook usage is like way down, way down.
Well, it's funny because my Instagram over the last couple of years, I've been trying to grow my Instagram, and then everybody knows, I have Fern and Coco, so I started a cat page, just something for fun. It is amazing how that page has grown. And
Right.
I've gotten to know, there's 3 or 4 people that now we text back and forth that I actually became friends with. I've never met them. They're in different states.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's just fun, and the same thing with, like you said, Instagram's a different vibe. Same with, I run 3 different pages. So it's fun and you can control it. It's like if you post, like I think I posted something on Facebook the other day about wishing Will ill if somebody gets COVID. And I said, this is not a political post. This is just in general. And I'm
Right.
like, and man, I mean, I was like, delete, block, delete, block, delete, block.
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
saw
not on
some
my
stuff
post,
on that one that I was like, oh snap.
yeah, I was like, delete, block.
I was like, let me keep scrolling. Let me keep scrolling. I'm not even going to say look at this. I saw that though. That was like, I'm the same exact way. Like, just putting out what I believe in. And I'm somebody who will say what I think. And if people don't like it, that's okay. I'm never coming from a place of like being mean or anything like that.
Right.
I'm just going to speak what I think. And, yeah. Oh, there you are.
There we go. We're off for a second. I was like, where'd it go?
You didn't like what you were saying, Rebecca. Change your topic.
Delete.
It's like you said, what?
What
Okay, keep
happened?
that on.
My face is probably like
I know. It just went to the real
the
human.
real thing. I don't know. Gina's out there doing, I'm not sure.
She's handling business. She's handling business. So. But yeah, no, I delete and get deleted freely. And a lot of people, talk about politics and
Oh,
Facebook and being a real estate agent. And my thing is I don't talk about politics, but I do talk about like moral
yeah.
things that I believe. And, obviously legal stuff, things that are going on in that realm
Hmm.
are important to me. Because I do have a black son and
Yep.
I do have a black husband. And even if I didn't, it's important to me. It just is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is why, I'm going crazy going back to school and losing my mind to go be a lawyer. So yeah, I'm like losing my, it's a lot of
That's
work.
the perfect thing. When Rebecca, she's in school, you guys, to become a lawyer, and it's like for everything that she's known about the system. And if you, I think she's got her story posted. You need to go back and hear the whole story and why she's doing and wants to go to school to be an attorney. But it's pretty amazing, just in the realm of justice system, and that could be a story in its own and a show in its own, if not two. But
Right?
you know that injustice goes on, but to actually know somebody that is going through injustice like that. And I think if people, and like I said, sometimes it's people don't know, but
They don't
still not
know.
the excuse to run your mouth. But if people knew somebody that went through an injustice like that and is still going through it, I
Yeah.
think their minds they would think a little bit differently.
Well, I think people automatically think if you got found guilty, then you did it.
You're guilty, right? Yeah.
Right. And what's crazy is like just this last week, two people that my husband is actually friends with just got exonerated completely because of a bad detective and some other things on their case. And that detective is the same detective that's on my husband's case,
Good
which
Lord.
is part of our problem too, right? And then before that, there was another guy, same thing. All these guys have been in there 20 plus years.
That's
I'm literally listening
crazy.
to, there's a podcast called Accused I started listening to when we were driving up to Georgia. And I'm listening to one right now out of Kentucky where this guy, literally another guy in isolation, was brought in, and they said that the security, not the security guards, the COs, and the detective said, "Hey, this is what this guy did. You're going to go in there and say that, and
Mhm.
we're going to get you out early." And that's exactly what they did. And DNA had to come back and get that man out and show that he did not do it because you have these people who like this system. So yeah, girl, don't get me started. But that's why we created, like, my son started the music,
Yep.
his music stuff, and we're going to start a nonprofit once am closer to getting my degree. And it's called Kings Left to Die, which is like really a provocative name. And you go, what the
Mhm.
hell? But it's really just this idea of these people who are left to die. I mean, Michigan State University did a study, and it showed that, you know, black men especially are 50% more likely to get wrongfully convicted of murder,
It's
which is a
crazy.
capital charge. Luckily Michigan doesn't have capital cases, but the system is interesting. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited to get into it and just kind of like, after knowing everything about my
The
husband.
difference.
And knowing everything about my husband's case and like just pouring into this stuff and just like really understanding the laws and the way things look at it's super exciting.
Well, you'll definitely be a great attorney, and I'm excited for that because that's definitely a good field for you. You'll definitely make a difference.
Oh
So,
yeah, I think I'll love it.
well, tell us about too before we go, like your coaching and some of your sites and stuff, and we'll definitely make sure we post all that too. So,
Yeah. So I do one-on-one coaching, and I coach women because I'm a woman, and that's just how it goes. That's just life. I don't coach men. I coach women. I mean, because I like to help women
yeah.
see, because for me, I was essentially a single mom, and so there was all these limiting beliefs of what you can do and what you can't do, and being able to shatter those to go really from nothing to something has been like really eye-opening for me. And I want to help other women who think that they can't get to that place, go, hey, yeah, you can. Like, here, we can work. So I do one-on-one coaching. I have my my Alignment Hackers group.
Mm-hmm.
I actually am relaunching my Align for Realtors is going to come back out. I think this is a great time for it to come out. So I'm putting that back out with some updates. So that is going to be out there. And obviously, like I'm writing a book. I don't even know. Like I feel like I need a whole nother person to do this. But I have an amazing story lady. So if anybody is looking for somebody to help them pull out and organize their story, y'all, I got you. Because that's what my lady is doing right now to get my book like really on point.
That's awesome.
So my website though is she'sunoffendable.com, and I just got it trademarked, and yeah, so you know, all the things. I have my podcast. I have like, I feel like I do 1,000 things. So my podcast is, but actually you need to come on my podcast so that
I
you
would
can,
love to be on your podcast. That would be
yeah,
cool.
yeah, totally. You need to come on. Well, I'm going to send you a link for you to schedule. So
Okay, we're gonna do that.
because that's all. She's unoffendable. It's for women. You know, just kick ass women. Like women, you know, us women, we've been through some crap too. Like we have risen in ways that, you know, are pretty amazing. So
That's
I
right.
love having, you know, just powerful women who, and that doesn't mean you could be a housewife and be powerful. Just
Exactly.
people who are like, you know, about their shit.
Oh, Sandra's watching. Hi, Sandra.
Oh, hey, Sandra. I don't even know. I
Oh,
kick
Sandra
ass.
said she kicks ass.
Oh, okay. Well, you can come on too then.
We'll get her on too. We'll do a multi podcast. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, I'll have both you guys on at the same time. That'll be fun. I'll
Oh my
probably want
gosh.
to get a word in edgewise.
We'll break Twitter. Well, I'm so glad you came on. And like I said, this was Rebecca's second time because about a week and a half ago, we did this entire show. I think this is better. And
I feel like it is. I feel
yeah,
like it was.
no
That was
recording.
warm up.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
dress rehearsal.
it was a dress rehearsal. It was just so funny. We're like, oh, it didn't record. Oh, it didn't go live. Oh, all right.
We were saying that, but we couldn't see each other the whole time. And I'm sitting here and thinking, like, pretty sure this isn't going to work out.
Be sure there's not something wrong. And I appreciate Gina because she's behind the scenes running all the other stuff. So without her, she's like, I say she's my left hand. So my buyer's agent. So she's awesome. Yeah. So I'm so glad you came on, and we are going to post your website and stuff. And y'all, if you have questions for Rebecca, reach out, or you can, comment below.
Find me. I got 2 more spots on my coaching. I have 2 spots. So
See,
you're thinking
I
of
believe
coaching
you will learn a lot.
or want to get in the membership, because the membership is, I'm getting ready to roll out all new webinars that we're going to do about lead gen. We're doing all sorts of stuff.
See,
So
that can help anybody, and mindset. Because
I know, and plus, and you need to sign up for your 20-minute call so that I can pick your brain too. So
I got that today.
yes, go in there and do it. Don't make me come.
Today was video day. I'm going to get on that.
Okay.
Well, for anybody who's watching the replays, Rebecca Hamilton joined me today. I'm so thankful. We talked about mindset and law of attraction and how important that is to basically, sometimes you have to reset your mind and to, and for you to be okay and to understand so you can move forward and help others in your life. That's how I feel. It's a good place.
And you can do it. No matter if your mother was like that, your grandmother was like that, whoever. Never be okay with thinking that you can't change. Like this is just how you are, because you can change.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, I'm so glad you came on, and I am so excited for all the people that tuned in today. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And like I said, if you guys have any questions, you can reach out, comment below. If you watch the replay, drop a 2 or just let us know. And we will be back. Let's Get Real will be on the 22nd. I'll be talking to Erin Noble from Real. So I'm really excited. She's the cultural officer. I love Erin, known Erin for a long time. Another powerful woman. So stay tuned, because I definitely have a great lineup coming up in the next couple weeks. So Rebecca, again, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. Talk to you all soon. Be safe. Be good.
Yes.